We always seem to push ourselves to the max, but today seems like a step too far. One of us has a race against tide, and the other a long journey by water, rail, road, and then to top it off, we have friends coming to stay. Let's rewind. Some backstory, a little scene setting. All boats have a hull. That hull lives underwater, and as such, that hull attracts marine life. It likes to make it its home. This makes the boat less efficient. It affects speed, durability, and performance. Good practice is to take the boat out of the water once a year, clean off the growth, and apply a special kind of paint called anti-foul, which makes it harder for the marine life to attach themselves to your boat. Last time we took Esperance out the water was a little over a year ago. We were having some new seacocks fitted. The boat was taken out of the water on a tractor and we were able to walk around the boat, and over the course of a few days we jet washed and applied several coats of anti-foul. However, having your boat lifted out of the water is expensive. But as so often in life, there is always an alternative. Another way. And I have to say, I was incredibly nervous. The idea is to tie the boat up to a wall. Then, when the tide goes out, the boat is left high and dry, thus allowing you access to the underside to clean and apply the anti-foul. There are a few risks with this. Keeping your boat from falling over being the main one, and the time pressure, as you only have as much time as it takes for the tide to come back in to get the job done. For those of you who have always wondered about this method, we thought we would talk you through the whole process, as we found out it wasn't as scary as we first thought. It really is a DIY job. Huge savings can be made, and of course you get immense job satisfaction, if you don't accidentally drop your boat. Planning is everything. The 7 Ps definitely apply here. Location, tides, weather, site check, equipment for drying out, weights, fenders and lines, tools for cleaning the hull, jet wash and scrapers, materials, paint, rollers and brushes, gloves and new anodes, and, so important, helping hands. Esperance is a big yacht. Firstly, location. Find a suitable wall for drying out on. After asking for recommendations from the online sailing community, our old neighbour Alex suggested Torpoint Yacht Haven. The manager's name is Joseph, a delightfully busy man who could not have been more helpful. It cost us £50 to use the wall here. When you think that having a boat lifted out can cost literally hundreds, it's already a massive saving. The cheapest price we found in the Solent for lifting Esperance's generous 23 tonnes was £700. Site check. Risk assessment. With a rough plan made to dry the Esperance out on the Monday and a provisional location confirmed, the next step was to visit Torpoint Yacht Haven and check out the facilities and the wall. Today was Saturday. Hugh went ashore at low tide, free of distraction of the family, and started to plan out the adventure. Hugh wondered as he wandered around the beach and the wall where Esperance would sit. He made notes, talked to the locals, and observed the various other boats that dry out against the same walls of the same harbour. He then calculated tidal curves, studied secondary port heights, punched some numbers, ground a grindstone or two, scratched various heads, and came to the conclusion that there would indeed be the right amount of water at the times we needed it. Tides. You need to select the right day. Ideally, a spring tide, which, as we all know, gives you higher high tides, great for getting the boat into place, and lower low tides, meaning the tide will go out completely, leaving all the boat exposed. Here's a link to the video I did explaining different types of tides. Even better is if the high tides occur in the morning and the evening, giving you the light and heat of the day as your working window. It was the day after Springs, meaning we had a tidal range of nearly 4 metres. High water was at 9 o'clock in the morning and again around 8:15 that evening. The weather forecast was for a bright, sunny summer day with a light wind coming consistently from the south all day. The wall was south-facing, meaning any load on the rig from the breeze would push Esperance onto the wall, whilst the sun would help dry the hull and the paint. In other words, the conditions were perfect. Time to bite the bullet, dive in, commit, and make hay whilst the sun shines.
We're in. It looks perfect actually. It says we've got 0.0 metres and over there says 0.2. My estimation was at this point here we should have about a foot, so 30 centimetres, 0.3, under the boat at high water. It's high water in half an hour's time, so effectively we've got at least 90 minutes or so, I reckon, until I touch the bottom.
Step 1. Position Esperance as per Hugh's calculations. Joseph then dropped some water barrels over. These hold 200 litres each. Therefore, when full, they weigh 200 kilograms. The effect felt very dramatic. With over half a ton of extra mass on one side, Esperance had a very definite heel to starboard. Joseph said we should be aiming for between 5 to 10 degrees of lean. This was exactly what happened. The next step, which was super important, was weighing the spring mooring lines. This you can see here. And it had the effect of providing a gentle, constant pull on the boat, making sure she stayed snug against the quayside.
So we are about 20 minutes, half an hour after high tide, and we are definitely leaning over now. The barrels are full, I can feel it. It feels a bit like when we're sailing. I don't like it. Like, I like the boat to be sat even when she's just floating free. But anyway, we are good. I've got to the point now where the doors aren't staying shut, so we're definitely leaning over a little bit. So just having a quick look at my tide calculations. It is now approaching 9:30. I reckon we're going to touch at some part. My calculations were we were going to touch at 10:15. So let's find out, or 10:13. Let's find out and see if that happens. So we've got another half an hour, 40 minutes or so. Something's knocking. I don't know what it is. Go and check that. And then the football match starts at 11. And then from about 12:30 onwards, theoretically, that's when I get out in the big wellies and start working. But it won't be dry to walk all the way around the boat until near 1 o'clock. So I've now got 2 other people helping me, so I feel confident that I can watch the whole game, because that's important. As long as I don't go to extra time, girls. Come on, smash it straight away. Get the win in early. Oh man, this is quite exciting. It's nerve-wracking. Right, I've just jumped in the dinghy because this is going to be my floating workstation for the day. Because we're going to start working on the boat when there's still sort of a foot or so of water around it. But the jet wash and the power can go in here, and any tools we need. But you can see as the boat's heeled over how much was already out the water, and also how much it needs this clean. Well, it said potential light showers in the forecast, but it's a bit of a nuisance. Anyway, we are still just about floating. It is now 10:05. So as I told you, my estimation was 10:15. But I suspect we may be touching on one end of the keel and not the other, and she's just going to start settling. We may feel the front of the keel is slightly higher than the back, so you may just come down a bit like that, but then the beach is also slightly sloping, so it may all come down together. We shall see. Top tip with a jet washer, run it through like I am here to get rid of the bubbles, because if there's any bubbles in the system it can damage the thing, and they normally have like an automatic shutdown and don't work because high pressure pumps don't like bubbles. So take the end fittings off, so it's just a free bit of hose, and run all the bubbles through before you plug it all together. Top tip. Don't normally have to worry too much about it because we haven't used it for a year and we've been sailing and it's bouncing around. There you go. Everything I need to set up is set up. Half an hour till the England game starts, so I'm just going to jog quickly into town and get myself like a sausage roll or something to keep me going. So no doubt about it, we are still bobbing very slightly, but we are 100% fixed. I've just tried to push the boat off. Here I am pushing against the wall as hard as I can. I can't move the boat at all, so it's still wobbling slightly. Anyway, exactly half an hour, so that was about 12-13 minutes after I thought it would be. So that gives us a really good indication that when she's going to float again later. She's definitely out of the water. You can see just see the top of the rudder coming out now. So I've just got myself in the dinghy. There's still probably at the bow maybe 40-50 centimetres of water. At the stern, well over a metre. The keel's just starting to show, and you can see the growth's nowhere near. You don't even remember, about a year ago we came out of the water having only been on the Itchen for 4 months, and the growth was awful. It's not as bad as that. but we've definitely got a bit of work to do today. But I'm confident we can get it scrubbed and get a coat primer on it. Only problem is there's still 45 minutes of football to play, and that doesn't include extra time penalties. But to be honest, about 45 minutes you'll be able to walk all around it, so it should be alright, and that's also when my team will arrive, so we should be okay. Really thought we were going to win. Anyway, we are a little bit late. The water is now there, just past the boat, so we can now walk all the way down the whole boat. Martin's turned up, so we'll be able to get stuck in. Like, considering I wasn't planning on doing this, and it was just like, wait, the tides are right and there's a wall right there, let's do it. I'm pretty prepared. I've got virtually everything we need. Even this paint I bought the other day was only as a backup extra paint. So I'm fairly happy that we can do a pretty good job today, and those two both know boats, both know what they're doing. So we've got a few, probably 4 or 5 hours before we bash through this.
Remember all that extra stuff we have stored in the heads over the last year? As a result, I got to learn the hard way how difficult it is to remove growth above the anti-foul line. This looks brutal, but it was the necessary final straw, and the decision to raise the paint line means it will all look good in the end. And the painting could begin.
Right, I'm not going to stop for long, but we are nearly there. You can see the tides coming in, cutting it fine.
Oh, and Dan, your P bracket is still looking good and working well. Just a little blue now. The rope cutter is also in great condition. Anodes changed. That one still has a year left on it.
Go. The last bit, just in time. Oh no, look!
You're joking.
Oh.
Slackers.
Right, still got an anode to change, and I want to stick a little grease inside these seacocks, but then we're done. So here we go. Last job. Want to do the honours?
Yeah.
Last job.
It looks a bit patchy, but that's just the paint drying at different speeds. I hope.
So Tiggs and Martin have gone now. They were both absolute stars, and it was a close run thing, but actually the whole boat's been cleaned, painted, the water line anti-foul's been raised up higher, so we've covered up those boot top thingamajigs, which is a shame, but it just means now the boat's heavy in the water, it's all good. All the seacocks have been greased, and a couple of new anodes are on, and everything looks good, and the props and all the brass work's been cleaned up, so I'm pretty happy and absolutely knackered. And now I've got to maybe an hour or so before Kel and the kids and our guests arrive. There's a hell of a clean up to do. Oh, guests are arriving in half an hour. Kel and the kids have just got home. We got some major tidy up time, haven't we?
Not half an hour, because it's 6:12 and they're arriving at 6:30.
Just realised a problem. Those barrels on the foredeck, I think one of the three is in a position where I could tip it over. The two others, if I can't tip them over, there's not space, they're jammed against the rails. So, introducing a little bit of physics. Siphon time. The good news is this appears to be working, which is good, because I didn't want to move those 200 litre barrels. So I was sitting there going, what should I do? Should I like winch them up the mast with a spinnaker halyard and end up trashing everything? Then I had a brainwave. But the only problem is the hose is really curly, so I don't know how far inside the barrel it is and I can't see. But it should help a little bit. So that siphon's working, and for the other barrel, I've got another plan. That's not a good plan. Oh Christ. I think I may have hurt myself. Oh, I'm absolutely soaked my feet. Oh, siphon sort of work. Joseph here, manager at Torpoint Yacht Haven.
hello.
He's amazing. Cool, he's looked after us brilliantly, so yeah, we can recommend it.
Woohoo! Nice to meet you all. Bye. Come to Torpoint Yacht Harbour.
There you go, perfect,
Yeah.
you nailed it. Cool.
And then our guests arrived. You'll meet them next week.